morning, afternoon, or evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ejikeme Bishops Ogweji, the webinar and editorial board chairman of ISSUP Nigeria. With me is Dr. Martin Agwoge, our chapter director. He will be co-moderating today. And behind the scenes, making sure all the tech works is Mr. Kwado. A big thanks to him. So, welcome to our 29th bi-monthly webinar. Today's topic is Beyond Tokenistic Roles, harnessing the power of young people in drug use prevention. Honestly, this is such an important discussion. Too often, young people are just there in name, but they don't get the real opportunities to make a difference. Today, we are going to talk about how to change that, how to give them roles that actually matter. If you are new here, here's a quick intro. ISSUP, the International Society of Substance Use Professionals, is basically a global network of people working in prevention, treatment, and recovery. A few numbers to give you an idea of ISSUP network. We have over 46,000 members in more than 200 countries and territories, and 39 national chapters, including ours right here in Nigeria. Being part of ISSUP means you get access to training, professional credentials, and a platform to share ideas with people all over the world. And joining is free. It takes just a few minutes. Before we start, here's a couple of housekeeping things. We'll have a question and answer at the end. Just drop your questions in the chat and we'll get to as many as we can. A recording of this session will be available afterward, so you can watch it again or share it. And just a quick reminder, this session is for learning and information only, not medical advice. All right, I'm really excited to introduce today's speaker, Aliyu Mukhtar Usman, who has loads of experience with youth engagement and drug use prevention. Aliyu Mukhtar Usman is a global prevention influencer and youth leader. He is the special assistant on youth and students to the president of ISSUP Nigeria chapter and youth leader of the African Union Youth Forum on Drug Use Prevention. He is a certified universal prevention curriculum trainer on environmental specialty track and co-facilitator of the UPC Corps. He attended many national and international conferences and represented the youth voices in high-level meetings globally. Aliyu Mukhtar Usman is a member of ISSUP Nigeria chapter. It's my pleasure to welcome Aliyu to this session. Aliyu, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, XKMA, for bringing me on. I hope I'm clear. You can hear me loud and clear. XKMA, can you hear me loud and clear, please? Thank you very much for bringing me on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us. I would like to, first of all, thank ISSUP Nigeria and ISSUP Global for giving me the opportunity to present today on this very, very important topic. I would like to also thank our leader. I can see him from the background for giving me once again the opportunity and always encourage me to participate. So without much further ado, I would like to share my screen so that we go into the presentation directly. Without much further ado, I'll just move to the presentation. So here is the summary of the outline of what we'll be discussing this afternoon. Um, we will delve into engaging youth in prevention, what ISSUP Nigeria has been doing in its efforts to actually culminate young people uh, in the activities of ISSUP, and the global programs and opportunities that young people can actually harness, look or take advantage of, and then we go into the main theme. So this is an info note that this presentation does not contain any scientific or research findings. All informations are solely the opinion of myself as the presenter, based on practical experience working for and with young people in the field of drug use prevention for nearly 5 years. So as introduced, I would not like to go into introduction again. So having been introduced, the first part of this presentation, I would like to just take a moment to share a reflection of how my journey actually began as a prevention professional. So during my second year in the university, I had a bit of engagement, so let me say challenge, with my academics, where I had to engage the university's counseling center. So through my engagement with the counseling center, the director advised me on so many issues that underpinned the academic excellence of students in university and the challenges they face. And one of the critical issues he highlighted as of then was the issue of drug abuse among students in the university, which actually affect their academic performances. For the first time in my life, he showed me a sachet of confiscated cocaine. He said it was confiscated from a student like myself. You know, that conversation left me in so much worry that I had to discuss and relate this conversation with a senior colleague, which of course advised me to look into establishing a drug-free club in the university. So I liaised with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Kaduna. Then I was lucky Ms. Fatima was the person in charge of drug demand reduction of the NDLEA. And through a relentless effort, we finally got approval to establish a drug-free club in the university. Um, and that was how my journey actually began. And since then, I was lucky she was a member of ISSUP Nigeria, and in fact, the state coordinator of ISSUP Nigeria as of then, and she introduced me to ISSUP Nigeria and encouraged that other students can register with ISSUP Nigeria. And since then, myself and other young students have been active members of ISSUP Nigeria, and we have been contributing, especially when it comes to engaging young people in drug use prevention. So this is a bit a backward story of how my journey actually began. Now, the problem of drug use is critical. When we look at the problems that persist, especially among young people, this is something that needs not to be stressed, because the statistics are there, the reality is also there. In Nigeria, for example, young people are the majority of the population, and so also when you look at the context of the African continent. So it is very important and very critical to involve young people, when it comes to preventing social vices like drug abuse, um, since we consider young people as a vulnerable group to substance use. Now, in reference to drug use, young people practically feel comfortable, doing what their friends are doing, um, regardless of the consequences. They find it comforting to actually engage or try what their friends are actually doing. They also take advices from their friends more than their parents and their teachers. And I mean, if you can view the picture in this slide, um, it's a program we initiated in Ahmadu Bello University through the help and efforts from ISSUP Nigeria. We call it the Peer Support and Recovery Program, where we engage students, peers, in a non-conventional kind of event where they can come, talk about the problems, talk about developments. We provide them with safe space, to share their own concern. Because young people feel comfortable discussing their concerns among their colleagues. So their peers have a great deal of influence in what they do. Now, let's look at engaging youth in prevention. Um, this is a process of bringing youth constituency to the work of prevention. As the definition of prevention is primarily to prevent or to delay the initiation of drug use. So engaging youth in prevention is involving young people to actually stop the use of drugs or delay its initiation. Now, when you look at, for example, the work of ISSUP in general, it's an international professional network that connects, unites, and shares knowledge across, the substance use prevention, treatment, and recovery workforce. Um, and youth constituency can be a significant part of the ISOP in general has different compartments, different departments, different constituencies that actually come together and work in order to achieve the missions and visions of the organization. So youth constituency can actually be part of that department. And so when you look at other international organizations, multilateral organizations have currently developed a framework where they establish youth constituency in order to achieve the vision. The African Union has a youth envoy, the United Nations also, and we see many organizations bringing youth constituency. So practically, this is what engaging youth in prevention entails. Um, Engaging youth in prevention also means, training young people with to be prevention practitioners and influencers. Giving them the opportunity to contribute to policy, program design, and implementation. So the picture attached to this slide is a recognized training manual for engaging youth in prevention. So when we talk about engaging youth prevention, we cannot engage them without empowering them with the knowledge and skills of drug use prevention. So it also means empowering them with tools, both human in terms of, say, capacity building, in terms of mentorship, and also financial to carry out evidence-based prevention interventions in schools, including schools and communities, and evolving social media. The financial aspect of this empowerment is very key, for young people to carry out micro projects to help practicalize the knowledge and skills they have. So the picture here depicts was taken during the ISSUP International Conference in 2022, where I participated as the representative of Nigeria at the Global Forum for Youth Leaders on Drug Use Prevention. So every 2 years during the ISSUP International Conference, you have a Global Forum for Youth Leaders on Drug Use Prevention, where young people from across the world are brought together, and the Engaging Youth in Prevention curriculum is taught. And young people are empowered with the ability, the capacity to develop project interventions, to develop proposals, to implement a project in their communities. So what have we been doing in ISSUP Nigeria? What's the effort of ISSUP Nigeria, in terms of practicalizing this engaging youth in prevention? Have we actually engaged young people in ISSUP Nigeria? Have we done that? But at least to say, are we trying to actually do that? So in 2021, I was appointed by the president of ISSUP Nigeria, Dr. Martins Aguigi, to represent the student branch. Um, I have a very, very clear job description, to promote student and youth participation in ISSUP's activities, and also create student member branch and also represent their voices. I am very happy, to say that since then we have done justice to this job description by growing the student network of ISSUP across the country. I'm also happy to share that many students, members of ISSUP Nigeria, had the opportunity to be trained on the Universal Prevention Curriculum core course, courtesy of ISSUP, with support from the Global Initiative on Substance Abuse. The training were absolutely made free for students. And we have successfully stepped down this training, engaging youth in prevention, to about 250 students since 2022. And I think this number has increased because we have did 2 other sessions this year. So this is a picture depicting the engaging youth in prevention step down training that we do organize. So we organize this twice every year. That is, per semester we organize a training, and we've done this since 2022. And this is an example in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, where I graduated. Through this engagement, every year since 2022, I had the privilege of leading student delegation to ISSUP national conferences, 2022 in Abuja and 2023 in Abuja as well, and then 2024 in Lagos. So we have mobilized students to attend the ISSUP national conference. This is to give them, a sense of understanding of the activities of ISSUP Nigeria, and practically engage in educating sessions, plenary, and had the opportunity to actually network with the leaders and the professionals in the field of substance use prevention. And so you can see that we were spotlighted in 2023 by ISSUP Global on social media. Now, let's talk about global programs for young people and opportunities. But before then, let me put it on record that there are various opportunities across the drug demand reduction workforce. And there's opportunities in treatment and rehabilitation for young people to actually go in and to leverage on. But young people also need to position themselves for these opportunities. So as young people, being a young person is not a ticket for you to have all the opportunities that you need. But being a young person, you must also be ready, to put yourself out there as viable resource for these opportunities. You need to show that you're committed to advocating for drug use prevention. And you need to learn, and you need to also practicalize what you've learned. And then you don't wait for opportunities to come to you. You look for the opportunities and you leverage on them. You apply, you volunteer with organizations like ISSUP, ISUDDR, and this will position you as a right candidate for future opportunities when they come. Now, this is a highlight of some of the opportunities I was able to put together for the audience, particularly young people, to leverage on. Global Forum for Youth Leaders on Drug Use Prevention happens every 2 years during the ISSUP International Conference, and there used to be a public call for young people to apply. So if you're a young person, there is an age range, I think 18 to 24 for young people to apply, and if you're selected, you will receive a full scholarship to attend the Global Forum, and you will learn from the trainers. The Engaging Youth Prevention course will be taught, And you also have the opportunity to develop micro projects. The ISSUP Global and the ISSUP National Chapter. So wherever you are, you can register with the ISSUP Global, www.issup.net. The registration is free. And once you are a member, you are entitled to other opportunities that will come, and national chapters. So you can register with your national chapter, whether you're in Nigeria or in Kenya or in Botswana. For Nigeria, you can register with ISSUP and join the national membership. In 2023, the African Union introduced for the first time the first African Union Youth Forum, just like the Global Forum. So we now have a regional forum where African Union selects participants from across African Union member states. So you will have the opportunity, and this is also a public call where young people apply, and if they're selected, they get invited to attend the African Union Youth Forum on full scholarship. So this is also an opportunity. And there is also the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime Youth Forum. This happens every year during the Commission on Narcotic Drugs session, CND. So if you're a young person, still the same age range, 18 to 24, you can apply. And I think this is a little bit not like the formal call for the Global Forum in the African Union. So you have to apply through your country office, I think the United Nations country office in your home country. And if you are selected, you will get the opportunity to attend the Youth Forum. Then you can also register online courses and self-led courses with Colombo Plan. There are free courses on ISSUP website, self-led courses where you can take these courses and be certified. This will improve your capacity as a young person. So this is the brief highlight of some of the opportunities that young people can actually leverage on. Now, let's talk about beyond tokenistic roles. You see, this is not a very large, I do not intend to have it in a very, crowded conversation. I mean, we have talked about so many things, especially how young people can take action themselves. But beyond tokenistic roles is a clarion call, and in a way, advocating on behalf of young people who are actively involved in drug use prevention, uh, because it has become a normal practice that young people are invited to the table during conferences and meetings, to share their own perspectives in rather a ceremonial way. But the power to actually, drive the work and the change are somewhat withheld. Not all the times, of course. They should be very careful. I'm not saying that, because there are other real opportunities also out there. But young people, we have seen a case and a scenario where young people are trained time and again, because resources are deployed to train people, especially young people. But after the training, comes no further work, either to practicalize what they have learned or making progress as career prevention professionals. Um, Among the 66 delegates that participated in the Global Youth Forum during the Abu Dhabi conference in 2022, I can relate that only very few fraction of that young people, that team of young people, are currently active, engaged in the work of prevention. So you see, we need to look at a way to actually give them opportunity to completely practicalize what they've learned and continue to engage them, because we have invested in them. It also means that we must begin to see young people as partners in the professional work, give them the opportunity to be involved in the system, recruit them, and develop their capacities. By so doing, their potentials, I believe, will be fully fully and optimally harnessed and utilized. We need to also give them access to resources to carry out evidence-based interventions, because without financial resources, they cannot carry out the many projects they intend to do in their communities or in their schools. And they will also have the opportunity to learn, because the learning process, learning in terms of capacity building, is a learning process in its own. Learning on how to implement some of these projects is also a learning process on its own. So they will also learn through the process, and the passion they do have for the work of prevention will increase. Uh, because young people are curious, because they lack so much experience, we need to closely mentor and monitor their professional development in the field of prevention. And I'm very glad that ISSUP Nigeria has taken the lead through our leader, the Tomatins, who have, for since the beginning, have trusted me with so many responsibilities, have encouraged me. And this advocacy work that we've been doing on youth engagement have begun to take fruition with some of the organizations. The African Union is trying to engage young people more often. Of very recently, the ICUDDR, through the Global Commission Center for Credentialing and Accreditation, have accepted to um, um, appoint two young people to the Global Commission, and I was very lucky to be part of the two young people that were selected from Africa, together with a colleague from Botswana. So we have begun to see, uh, that what we are advocating for is actually taking shape. Now, this is a case scenario. So in 2022, I was nominated by ISSUP Nigeria to attend the the global forum, um, and immediately after the global forum, the ISSUP had the national conference, and I was also given another opportunity to share the Global Youth Declaration, which is also a declaration for stakeholders, leaders, government to involve young people in drug use prevention as partners. So this is a case scenario where um, engaging youth in prevention is taking place. Now, to come to a close to the engaging youth in prevention section, I would like to close with a quotation from one of our leading trainers on the Global Youth Forum, Ms. Dichen Chodan. She said, and I quote, the phrases "youth are leaders of tomorrow" and "youth are leaders of today" holds no meaning and no significance in the absence of the opportunity to lead. If youth are not included in the process, youth will not be leaders today or tomorrow. So this is my ask as parents, teachers, lawmakers, service providers, and citizens. It is true our responsibility to provide young people with the opportunity to work in partnership with us. We need to give them the voice where they lack the voice. We need to listen to them where they have the voice, and we need to involve them in solving the problems that they face, because their future starts today, their today starts now, and their now starts with this moment. I thank you very much for joining this session, and for further discussion, you can actually reach out to me via my email, and I look forward to engaging in the question and answer session. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Aliu. You have shared some thoughtful and engaging presentation. You have also highlighted the urgency of putting young people at the center of prevention efforts and shown us that meaningful youth participation is not just desirable, but essential if we are to make sustainable progress. What stands out is the balance you have drawn between the challenges, such as financing, evolving drug trends, and limited opportunities for young people. And also, you've highlighted the solutions, especially through peer-to-peer models, capacity building, and leadership in evidence-based interventions. These are all very practical entry points that can truly shift the way prevention is approached. And I also believe many of us here have taken note of how this perspective connects to our own work, whether in schools, communities, or policy spaces. It reinforces that young people are not only beneficiaries, but also valuable contributors and learners in the field. With that said, I will now move into the discussion segment, and I'm going to check through the boards to see if we have some questions, if we have received some questions. Then we'll open the floor for further contributions. Um, okay, we have a question here from Paul Meshach, and that goes to you, Mr. Aliyu. Paul is asking, is the ISSUP Youth Prevention Program operating in other universities apart from Ahmadu Bello University's area?
Yes. So through the work that we have initiated uh, since 2022, we have extended the invitation across many universities, some in the northern part of the country and some in the southern part of the country. But the challenge remains one. Uh, as a time, we don't have the capacity in terms of financial resources to be physical in those universities to actually start the work. So what we solely relied on was recommendations through the state coordinators of ISSUP in those states um, to identify a student who is capable and who can actually start a student chapter in their own universities. I think we've tried that with Bayelsa, we've tried that with Kwara, we've tried that with Lagos, we've tried that with Bayero University. And sometimes we do go through their existing drug-free clubs to establish a student chapter. But the work to put for young people to put in the work is what is actually giving us trouble. We will start the process with them. We'll send out notifications through their schools. But at the end of the day, they will not be putting in the work to make that a reality. I am glad to announce that the current administration that is coming in with ISSUP, I just had a call with the incoming president, and she wants to focus on establishing more student chapters across universities in the country. Um, and I believe that will be an opportunity for us to practically or physically engage some of these universities. Uh, so, but if your university is willing, you can just come directly to us. We will provide all the information, necessary resources that you need to start a student chapter in your own university. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mukhtar. I believe you did justice to the question and that Mr. Paul is satisfied. Yeah, we have a number of compliments coming in, thanking you for an insightful and engaging presentation. And also, we have this question coming um, from Vohan. Vohan is asking, does this program only target the youth at universities, or does it also target the youth at secondary schools who may fit the 18-year minimum age?
Well, these opportunities target everyone. So long as you are in the age bracket, you can actually leverage on these opportunities. And during the global forum, there are a lot of uh, delegates from other countries that are high school students, And just last week, there was a student. He just finished secondary school, I think, or he's in secondary school, just within the age range, who actually contacted me that he was nominated by United Nations Office on Drug and Crime to attend the Youth Forum next year during the CND, and he has been invited for interview. So he wants me to guide him on how to approach the interview. So it doesn't matter what level of education you are at, whether you are in secondary school or you are in university, so long as you fit that age bracket, you can actually leverage on those opportunities. Thank you. Your mic is off, Ejikeme. Your mic.
Yeah, thank you so much. You are doing justice to the questions. This question is coming in from Christine. Christine is sending her question from Uganda. And she's asking, after complimenting you for an insightful presentation, does ISSUP only look at Compass students? Because here in Uganda, young people right from secondary are engaged in substance use. And I think this level also has to be included in terms of prevention. Thank you.
So to respond to that question, I think ISOP covers schools. I mean, it doesn't have to be universities on campus. It depends on the number of or the needs assessment of that problem in a certain location or certain environment. So and in the context of national chapters, it depends on the national chapter. Uh, what project do you have for the year? Are you targeting schools, including secondary schools and universities? Do you have the resources to extend? Um, we are university based as at the moment, but that does not mean that we have not targeted secondary schools. I have carried out some prevention work in secondary schools through the university has a secondary school, Ahmad Bello University, and there was an increased drug use problem in secondary school in 2023, and so we collaborated with the university management through the counseling directorate to organize an activity for the students. And what we are encouraging now is engaging the secondary schools through other activities such as sports, such as arts, and recreational activities that will make these secondary school students engaged. And this will deter them from, falling victims of drug use. So to finalize, I think it depends on the project that the national chapters want to carry in Uganda. Maybe you can push on the agenda that ISOP Uganda should look into, secondary schools because there is an alarming rate of students who use drugs. But in Nigeria, I'm very sure that the scale is balanced. That we're trying to look at both secondary schools in some cases where the issue of substance use is reported to be at high rise. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we're just trying to see how much of the questions we can take before our time runs out. This one is coming from Santos. Santos is from Mexico, and he's asking, I would like to ask the following questions. What is the initial approach to engaging young people? Where does this take place? And what kind of messages are used to encourage their participation? Did you get the questions?
So the first question is about age range.
No, it said, what is the first question is what is the initial approach to engaging young people? Initial approach. Now, the second question, I believe, is asking about the setting. Where does this take place? And then the third question is what kind of messages are used to encourage their participation? How can we encourage them to participate?
So as I highlighted, we have a program called through a peer-to-peer model. So what we practically do is not actually make it resemblance that we are all into to make them feel unwelcome. So that is why we have a peer-to-peer model where primarily we do prevention intervention through engaging them in other social activities. So we have a model where within schools, it happens within schools environment where we have sessions. We can talk about development, we can talk about sports, we can talk about art, we can talk about music. So this is the model we follow to make young people feel comfortable sharing their own ideas and sharing their own concerns. So this is the initial approach that we do actually follow to engage young people. And it happens in the school settings, in the school environment. And we use decriminalization messages. We show empathy to actually make them engaged, to actually encourage them to share their own stories, to make them feel that they are not alone in this struggle, to make them feel comfortable and understand that it's not a moral failing. They are not a failure. They can actually get better when they share their messages or their stories with us. And I think this is a model that has worked for us, and we're continuing to use it. Thank you. Mike, Ejikeme?
Sorry for that. This one is coming from Eniola. Eniola is asking, is there a possibility of collaborating with my organization for prevention campaign in private secondary schools in our community? Well, I think broadly, the question is trying to find out if there's any possibility of ISSUP youth wing collaborating with private organizations for prevention campaign in secondary schools.
Well, actually, we are open for collaboration so long as we will be having a unified interest to promote evidence-based practices because we're very also careful on kind of collaborations that we do. So except and unless those collaboration would promote evidence-based practices, we are very, very welcome to collaborate. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, there are quite some few persons that are asking how can we register to become ISSUP members. Yes, you go to the website www.issup.net to register to become an ISSUP member. But if you want to become a national member of ISSUP Nigeria chapter, then you have to get in touch with ISSUP Nigeria national chapter. We have this question coming from Elizabeth Mayer. Elizabeth is asking, I understand that the population is leaning towards a vast majority of youth, which is a global phenomenon. We want to involve youth and train them, which is noble and necessary. However, how many peers or youth professionals can be trained to counter the substance abuse that is ever increasing? How is it, how is the proposed, there's a confusion here in the question, how How is it supposed to target youth substance users? For those who are unemployed, how will they stop or reduce substance abuse if there is very little at their disposal to secure a work, living according to societal norms and values? It's quite a lengthy one. Um, did you get the beginning part of the question? You can just
Yeah,
tackle that.
I actually got the most important part of the question, and
Yeah.
I will respond. You see, it is an undeniable fact that the problem is big, the problem is huge, and it's ever growing. Um, that is why it is not a sole responsibility of a single entity to actually address this issue, looking at how big the problem is. So while we are doing our part in ISUP, we also hope that other people, other stakeholders, and other actors will also do their part. And for this part that we currently do, we focus on preventing the occurrence of drug use. We understand that the problem is growing. We want to stop people from using it. We want to stop young people from using it. And that's why we are saying invest in prevention. Because if we stop them from using it, we'll not come back and be having, okay, we have large number of people who are using drugs. We have large number of them who cannot secure jobs. We have large number of them who are becoming nuisance in society. So that is why prevention is key and is very important to the work that we do. Okay, so I believe when small efforts are combined together, they can make a huge impact. So while we're doing our own share in ISUP, we hope other organizations are also doing their own share, especially in terms of prevention, because it saves us a whole lot of trouble of the aftermath of using drugs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Aliu. We are gradually coming to the end of our webinar. And we have this question coming from Issa. Issa is from Kenya. I'm asking, how do you deal with celebrities and social media who strongly influence youth behavior, especially when drugs are openly endorsed?
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. You see, I think this is why there is a current effort to actually deploy young people and train them with the knowledge of drug use prevention through social media. I was opportune to be invited by UNODC last year for a technical consultation on drug use prevention through social media. And this is one of the key concerns that were raised during the meeting. We have a population of Gen Zs who actually want to adopt the ways of life of public figures, influencers, social media celebrities. And these are people who actually use drugs in an open space. We also need, while they are doing their own part, because we realize that the world is evolving, you cannot stop someone from, especially how they use social media. You cannot control how people use social media. Uh, the mechanism where we need to deploy is train more young people on social media prevention and deploy them on social media to actually preach the gospel of drug use prevention through social media. So young people will also be consuming prevention messages through social media. So it should not be like they're only consuming drug abuse through celebrities' activities on social media. They will also be consuming prevention messages, prevention effort, activities that are aligned with evidence-based practices through social media. And this is one of the mechanisms I hope that will come to fruition. We are yet to see that, but we'll keep pushing because the social media is actually evolving and is unstoppable. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, we are almost out of time, so we're just quickly going to take this one more question before we finally wrap up. What are the most drugs being abused by young people in your community? This is coming from the Marira.
Okay, I think for my community, the most populous one is marijuana. So people use it. But of recent, in the last 2 years, there is an increased use of a new substance called ice. I'm not sure what the constituent of that is, but young people are currently using that in an unprecedented rate. So I'm not sure the statistic shows whether, because this is actually something new, so whether the statistic will show that young people are now using ice more than marijuana, but the current data shows that marijuana is the most currently used substance in my own community, and perhaps I think in the country in general. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Aliyu. We have now come to the end of today's webinar, the 29th session in our series, and I would like to sincerely thank our speaker, Aliyu Mukhtar Usman, and our participants for making this a truly rich and meaningful discussion. And on behalf of ISSUP President, ISSUP Nigeria Chapter President, Dr. Martin, I want to say thank you for being part of this insightful engagement and looking forward to having you in our future engagement. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining. Thank you.